Hello, everybody. Happy summer. I'm Jillian Sakovitz, and a very warm welcome to Full-Time Review. It is presented by Amazon Business.
I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Annie Peterson of the Associated Press, one of my favourite journalists, if not my favourite journalist in the Rose City covering all things soccer. Annie, how are you?
Hi, Theo. It's good to see you. So good to see you, and I'm doing great. It's a wonderful season so far, and now I get a month-long break. So
let's get into a little Portland Thorns, Annie, because that is, one of your many expertise. You're very close to this team and have been over, for a long time now. I want to talk about this 9-match unbeaten run at home. Everyone's talking about it. But before we get there, just for our listeners who maybe aren't aware of what Providence Park means to the NWSL, or what the Rose City Riveters and the fan base means to the NWSL, and what the Portland Thorns playing at home means to the NWSL. Can you give us just like a quick overview of what this stadium, what this team at home has meant to the league over the years?
Okay, it's not going to be quick.
Okay, that's okay.
But I'll give you an overview. Let's go all the way back to 2005 when...
Wow, not what I was expecting. That is way back. Yeah.
The Portland Pilots, with Christine Sinclair and Megan Rapinoe on the team, win the NCAA title, and they beat UCLA. They're the Portland Pilots, a tiny Catholic school up here in Portland. They beat UCLA 4-0. Christine Sinclair scored 2 goals. And Portland had a rally downtown for the team. And thousands of people showed up. And I was one of the thousands of people who showed up and was just standing there stunned that many people came out and watched. And I had been an AP reporter in San Francisco covering the Oakland Raiders. And I get to San Francisco and I'm like, oh my God, this many people turn out for a women's soccer team? This is different. This is a different place. And UP has always outdrawn, in attendance, all of these, much bigger programs across the country. They have a rabid fan base. So along comes the NWSL, and they build upon this. So in 2013, Portland, with Christine Sinclair, wins the first NWSL title. And there's a rally at the stadium in the middle of the afternoon, and thousands of people turn out, because the championship game wasn't at home. It was stunning to me to see the actual reception that this kind of league was getting and that this team was getting. With that history in mind, and with Portland, until Angel City joined the league, regularly topping the league in attendance, it's just not surprising to me that they've really built this fortress of fan base, and the Riveters are just amazing. And, the atmosphere there is unlike any other in the NWSL.
I should throw it in here now that last 2 seasons, Angel City and the Thorns have been 1 and 2 in the attendance table. Although I think if the Thorns keep up the track they're on right now, then maybe they could take that number 1 spot off Angel City. But obviously we'll find out in the second half of the season. Annie, so you've given us an incredible kind of historical look there. Thorns now have recaptured some of this Fortress Providence Park. 9 matches unbeaten now, going back to last season, last 2 games of last year and the first 7 games of this year. That's not entirely new. They did this before, end of 2022 season, where they won the championship under Rhiannon Wilkinson, crossed over into 2023. That was another 9-game unbeaten streak. And while we're still talking a little bit of history, can you tell me about 2017 when Mark Parsons was in charge of the Portland Thorns and they lost just 1 game at Providence Park all season? And in that season, that included an 8-match winning streak. What was that Thorns team like? And what do you remember about the stadium and the vibes being like behind that team?
Oh my gosh. That was an amazing team and an amazing time. Christine Sinclair was again the centerpiece of that team, and as she has been ever since the beginning. And they did win 8 at home en route to the title. That was an amazing team. But you go through the history of the team and all of the iterations, and you have the Alex Morgan years. You have the years where Adie Franch was just a force in goal. You have the years where Nadine Angerer was a force in goal. You have the Sophia Smith, Sophia Wilson time. You have Becky Sauerbrunn. You have Crystal Dunn being, you can just look at the history of this team, and it's just like a team of superstars. That's like the through line. And what's interesting about this team in particular is there isn't that marquee player, right? You've
Right.
got Sophia on maternity leave, Morgan Weaver, who was who was going to be the striker, to kind of fill in that void, injured. The superstar on this team is Sam Coffey, who isn't really a goal scorer, but is more like a facilitator. She's amazing. But we also thought that Dana Castellanos was going to come in and perform have a bigger role than she has had. And instead, we've seen these kids like take over, these like rookie kids really. Kaya Hanks has had 2 goals before she unfortunately got injured. You've got Jaden Perry from UCLA, who's a defender, for goodness sake, and she's been just incredible. And then Jessie Fleming's been having an interesting year on top of all of that. After not scoring any goals last season, she got a goal this year, and then she had a multi-assist game earlier this season against the Washington Spirit. So it's kind of like, this team is like one of these teams that you can't really figure out, compared to the other teams. You could always point, I felt like the other teams, you could always point to a player or 2 players that were part of the reason for the success. And this team is more, it feels like more of a team effort. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. But kind of returning to this idea of the Providence Park and the fans really maybe being a galvanizing factor there. Do you think, I don't know, from afar, Annie, it feels like the stadium and the fans have given this team, like you said, that maybe don't have a star, they've given them like a jolt of confidence or a bit of extra juice. Do you think there is something special going on right now between the fans and the players? And we're seeing, if those past Thorns teams relied more on stars, it's almost like this team has relied on something else, which maybe could be the fans or the stadium.
Going back to last season, the team went on that massive swoon, right? I think they lost like 6 of 7 games, right?
Right,
and
right
then,
after Gail gets announced as the permanent head coach in
right?
the summer.
And
yeah,
exactly. And there was all this talk like, maybe they made a mistake, right? Like maybe this wasn't a great idea. And then they beat the Orlando Pride 2-0, handing the Pride their first defeat of the season.
at Providence Park.
At Providence Park.
Exactly.
People went nuts, like literally the entire stadium. I was stunned. I'm like, oh, good, I was here because I get to write about this, and I was like, but I don't remember hearing a crowd kind of go crazy like that at a game that season.
Right.
Like, people,
it kind of awoken something.
Oh my gosh, people went nuts. And the Thorns were just like almost not in the playoffs, right? They almost didn't make it. And that boosted them, and they got into the playoffs. And while, it didn't go the way they wanted it to go, right? I think I can point to that win, and I think that win was really kind of the beginning of the kind of turnaround for the team. Like the players on that team saw that they could do it. And also the crowd saw that they could do it. And I think that gave everybody something kind of a way to rally around something. I also think that going into this season with all the hits that they took with the injuries, it also gave fans something to rally around and players something to rally around. And I think also that other players, within the locker room kind of stepped up. We talked to Kaya Hanks, who said Jesse Fleming is like the GOAT when it comes to, being a leader and telling people, what to do and how to act and all that kind of stuff. I forget the other player was saying that Sam Coffey has just been a force in the locker room this season. So all of those things, kind of went into this, this run. Who thought that that's where they were going to be? Right?
Well, it's so interesting because it's, again, the fan base, the players, like you were saying about Coffey and Fleming there, when there's that vacuum of talent or vacuum of leadership, right? Christine Sinclair, Becky Sauerbrunn retiring, Sophia Wilson, Morgan Weaver getting injured. It's such a fight or flight thing. Like, is the fan base going to show up? They have. Are the players going to take on the pressure? They have. And that's what I'm saying, that the juice in Portland now just seems different.
Yeah, and their hype man, Megan Klingenberg's not there anymore either.
Right, so. Sorry, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, one thing I want to talk to you kind of before I do let you go is Bella Bixby, because I think she obviously missed last year having the birth of her first child. She comes back in, and I think she's maybe been underrated as a player. She's obviously from the area as well, who really connects with the fan base. 321 minutes now since Portland Thorns conceded a goal at home on this run in 2025. Can you tell me a little bit about maybe Bella Bixby and what she means to the fan base?
What did they have? They've only given up 13 goals, I think, this season.
12, very close. 12.
I think they're ranked third, right? In the
Correct.
league.
Ranked third in the league, 12, yeah.
Yeah, so like at the beginning of the season, it didn't appear that it appeared that maybe she might not have the job necessarily. And the thing about Bella, obviously, her struggles have been well documented, and the things that she has gone through have been well documented. If there's an example of a player that has really got an inner strength to her and a calm to her, it's Bella Bixby. She has taken the adversity that has come her way, both in her personal life and on the field, and she's kind of channeled that into just having an amazing kind of comeback season from her pregnancy. And that's tough to do, right? That's really hard to do after everything that she's gone through, to the resiliency. I mean, a lot of athletes kind of talk about, and it's kind of almost fake, athletes are so resilient and stuff like that, and overcoming adversity and that kind of thing. But like, she's really, like, it's true with her. So
27 clean sheets for Bella Bixby now for the Portland Thorns, which is a club record. She had that at the weekend with the 1-0 win over the Chicago Stars. Before I let you go, I just want to kind of, after all that has been said, Annie, kind of ask you the basic question. Why are the Portland Thorns so good at home then? What is the reason? What is the secret sauce?
I think it's because the fans push them. I do. I mean, it's cliche, but I do think that the so-called 12th man phenomenon in Portland is real. I don't want to diminish the talent of these young players, because they are talented, and they are more talented than I think we realized on paper when they came in. So I don't want to take away from those players and what they're doing and how they've come together as a group, but there is a lot to say for that 12th man phenomena at home. 12th man, for people who aren't familiar with football, is a football thing. There is the other football. There is a 12th man phenomena going on in Portland, and it really has to do with the complete enthusiasm of the Riveters and the rest of the fan base. In Portland, they do push this team to go that extra mile and run that extra step and that kind of thing. I really feel that.
I love that. Thanks so much for being here today, Annie. The Thorns' first 2 home games after the summer break will be Seattle Reign at home and the KC Current at home. So we'll have to get you back on, because that is a very spicy way to come back for the Thorns after the break. All the best with your summer soccer.
All right, take care. Thank you so much.
And finally, in case you didn't know, The Athletic has partnered with Yahoo Sports to provide free best-in-class coverage of women's sports. Go check out the Women's Sports Hub at sports.yahoo.com/women-sports. I'm Jillian Sakovits. Thank you, as always, so very much for listening to Full Time Review. We'll see you soon.